Gotta catch 'em all equations! Welcome to another episode of Math and Silly Hats. Today we're going to be solving two-step equations with integers. Again, I have a list of steps we can take one at a time to make sure we solve this properly and check our solution. First step is going to be to identify the variable we're solving for. Now, this isn't necessary in this type of equation since there's only one variable, but in literal equations or in linear equations, you're going to have more than one variable, and this can still be a useful step. Next, we're going to move all constants to one side of the equation, all the variables to the other. We're going to use opposite operations for that, so in this step, we're just going to be adding and subtracting constants and variables to move them around. Next, we're going to remove coefficients from the variables if they exist. Sometimes we'll just have x equals a number and we'll be done, but if that variable has a coefficient, a number multiplying it, we'll need to divide both sides of the equation by that coefficient to remove it. Finally, we're going to check our solution using substitution. The first step in solving this problem is going to be to identify the variable of interest. Here, there's only one variable, so we'll be solving for y. The next step will be to move all the constants to one side of the equation. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my constants in blue. Now, I need to get all the variables over here and all the constants over here. So, it looks like we've got -6 here. To move it, we're going to use opposite operations, and the opposite of subtraction is addition. So let's add 6 to both sides of my equation. That will leave me with 4y. And if I had a debt of $14 and I paid off 6 of it, I would have a debt of -$8, less debt remaining. Now, this 4 in front of the y is what we call a coefficient. Coefficients multiply their variables. And before I have a solution, y equals a number, I need to get rid of this coefficient. Our next step will be to remove this coefficient from the variable by opposite operation here. Because that variable is multiplying y, opposite operation will be to divide. We're going to divide everything by that 4. On the right, 4 divided by 4 will be 1 times y is just y. On the left, we had a negative divided by a positive, so we know our answer will be negative. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So we have a tentative solution of y is equal to -2. But let's check to make sure that works. We're going to use substitution, plug this back into our original equation, and make sure that it's correct. So I'm going to rewrite my original equation, -14 equals 4. I'm going to substitute y's value there, -6. I said my y was equal to -2. So instead of y, I'm going to write my current solution, -2. And let's make sure that this is a true statement. So, -14, is that equal to 4 times -2 is going to be -8 minus 6. So is -14 equal to, if I owed $8 and I withdrew another $8 or borrowed another $8, I would owe more money, or a total of -14. So this does check out, and this is our solution. Y is equal to -2. Let's do one more. All right, in this problem, we're working with a different variable. We have our variable here as x. So let's rewrite this with our x highlighted as the variable of interest. We want to solve for x. Then we're going to identify our constants since we need those to be on the same side. Now you'll notice that I put my negative sign in blue with this 3 because the 3 is negative. It's not positive. So to move it to the other side, we're going to use opposite operations because remember, I'm trying to get all the variables over here and all the constants over here. So the opposite operation of subtraction is addition. So we're going to move that -3 by adding it to both sides. So let's add 3 to both sides of this equation. So we've got 2x is now equal to 10. So we've got all the constants on the right and all the variables on the left. But that 2 in front of the x is a coefficient. So I need to remove that coefficient from x. Sadly, I can't do it just by erasing it. We're going to have to use opposite operations again. This 2 is in front of the variable, so it's multiplying that variable. To remove it, we're going to use the opposite of multiplication. We're going to divide everything by 2. So let's divide everything by 2. Two x divided by 2 is just going to give us x. 10 divided by 2 is going to give us 5. So our tentative solution is x equals 5. Now, let's confirm that this solution is correct. Let's check our solution by substituting it back into our original equation. Write up my original equation, -3 plus 2 times the value of x should be equal to 7. So let's substitute our value of x, where we saw x before, is x equal to 5. Let's check. -3 plus 2 times 5 is 10. Is that equal to 7? Well, 10 minus 3, or if you'd like to think you owed $3 and you deposited $10 into that account or paid off $10 of debt, you're going to be left with a positive 7. And that is equal to 7, so we know our solution is correct. Hopefully by using these steps you can solve these problems on your own. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye!